Am I the asshole for taking over when it came to my siblings? I, 30 am much older than my 3 younger siblings. My parents were teens when they had me. Then when I was 12, they had my first brother. Within the next 3 years, they had 2 more kids. My mom went through what I believe was postpartum depression after my first brother was born. She wouldn't really leave the room, barely took care of the kids. I ended up stepping up young and taking care of them, as our dad was barely ever home. He got off work at a reasonable time, but would hit up the bars or go out with friends. I suspect there were some affairs sprinkled in there. My parents always treated this as normal. When I was 15 and my baby sister was born, my mom had some complications and passed away within a few weeks following her birth. From there, I took on even more responsibility. I managed to convince my dad to put the kids in daycare at the very least, as I had to go to school, but I was the one bringing them there, picking them up and taking care of them. Even after I turned 18, I went to college locally so I could stay close to home and take care of the kids. My dad would leave me money, but would often disappear for days to weeks at a time. I was raising my younger siblings. Somehow, I met someone who was willing to put up with all of this, and my girlfriend began helping me. When my siblings were 7, 6, and 4, my dad actually tried getting sober, being around more, etc., and I was supportive of this. However, my brothers and sister didn't trust him. They barely knew him, as he wasn't around. All they wanted was me. I tried to encourage them to go to our dad with stuff, but they always went to me. I didn't want them to feel abandoned, so I would do what they asked. Dad got annoyed and went back to his old ways. This happened 2 more times, but the process was always the same. Kids didn't trust him, they kept coming to me, and eventually, I stopped telling them to go to our dad. Dad would start drinking again, and start being gone often. When I was 25, I married my wife, and we moved into our house. I was hesitant to leave my siblings, and tried to be around as much as possible for them. They ended up spending a lot of time with us at our place. 3 years ago, they came for spring break, and then after that, just never went home. My dad eventually signed custody over. My siblings are now 18, 17, and 15. My dad is sober again, and I've left it up to the kids on if they want to see him. 18-year-old does, 17 and 15-year-olds do not. My dad is irritated yet again, and said that it is my fault the younger 2 refused to see him. He claims I should have backed off completely when they were younger. I told him that it's a lame excuse and that he could have tried harder, refused to let me take over, and he most importantly could have made them come back home 3 years ago. My dad is insistent that I am the problem here. My wife is on my side. The kids are as well, even the 18-year-old. But a lot of our extended family agree that I am the problem. So, am I the asshole? You're the kind of problem the world needs. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Those kids would have been lost in foster care if it hadn't been for you. Your dad is 100% TA. Not the asshole. Your extended family sure has a lot of comments and thoughts now. Weird that they didn't have them when your dad was being a shitty dad. You did the difficult and kind thing, so the kids aren't some coat that your dad can put in a closet and decide when he's ready to wear. Their life goes on, and after so many years of abandonment, no one can blame them for not wanting anything to do with them. My dad abandoned me, and I want nothing to do with him, so I totally get it. Not the asshole. Your father is a 5-star loser. What you did was incredible, and you deserve all the accolades for your selflessness. No wonder your siblings don't like him. He's still blaming others for his horrible life. Not the asshole. I can't even express the rage I feel for your situation. You have been the only stability in those kids' lives. I don't normally say this, but you can tell your sperm donor and his equally shitty relatives to F at #off. Not the asshole. Your father has reaped what he sowed in terms of relationships with his children, and is making this about him rather than the responsibility he let you take on instead of taking on himself. He gave up responsibility for them in a legal context, and years of absence, physical and emotional, led to the younger ones not wanting to see him. Where were the extended family when you were parentified? You've been a parent to your siblings for more than half your life, and still in that role for the long run. Am I the asshole for getting mad at my parents for using the money my grandma gave me for graduation? I, 23F, have just graduated from university. I've always had a close relationship with my grandma, and she has given me roughly $1.4 thousand, converted to USD, upon graduation as a gift. As she isn't really good with tech, she gave my dad cash. My dad said he'll keep it in his account for the time being. Yesterday I asked for the money as I had something I wanted to buy. My dad told me he has spent it and has nothing to give me ATM. I know $1,400 isn't a large sum of money, but I currently have no income, so it would really help me RN. And what pisses me off the most is that he didn't even think of asking me before using my money. I had a huge fight with my parents, but they think I'm being ungrateful as they've spent most of the money on me anyways, living expenses, education, etc. Right now I feel like my trust has been broken by the two people I trusted the most. Am I the asshole? Update. Thanks to everyone that replied and gave me advice. I just wanted to add some context and provide an update. 1. I used to study abroad, so since I have graduated now, I am currently staying at home with my parents, which makes things a lot more complicated. 2. Many of you advised me to tell my grandma about this, which I did. But she isn't bothered by it, as my parents claimed that all the money went to paying for my education, etc. 3. I demanded to have less than a third of the money returned by tomorrow. My dad said he had no money, and if he had to pay me, he would have to sell his last gold bar. 4. I'm applying for masters this year, and my parents were going to sponsor me. But now, my dad is threatening not to do so anymore since I'm demanding my money back. Also, I'm from an Asian country where being filial is highly important, so I don't know if that changes the context. I'm also wondering if I can take out a student loan in the US as a foreign student to pay for my tuition if my dad does withdraw his offer. Not the asshole. Tell your grandma your dad stole your graduation gift. Go over dad's head and tell grandma. I bet she will have some thoughts about how the money was used. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your dad stole from you. Of course you're not the asshole. Not the asshole. $1,400 ain't chicken feed. Not where I'm from. Let your dad know that he has 10 days to return it, even if he has to get a loan to cover it. Let your grandma know what he is down, so there will be pressure there to make good on it. Not the asshole. Your parents quite literally stole your grandmother's graduation gift from you. Am I the asshole for asking my husband to cancel our anniversary trip to Everest? I got married recently, and my husband is an amazing soul. He is very thoughtful and loves to show love with small presents or acts of service. We also are both big travelers, and that's one of the many reasons why we connected so deeply on the first date. One major difference in our travel styles is that he prefers art, culture, architecture, shopping, beaches, and while I love those things as well, 30% of my trips are around hiking. I'm not a good hiker, but I visit Colorado, Montana, northern UT/AZ, etc. for hiking 1-3x a year. Since he pays for a lot of the daily recurring costs, I have been paying for most of our recent travels. But he wanted to plan/pay for the 2 bigger trips for our delayed honeymoon and also our wedding anniversary. One day he shared a link to a guided hike to Everest Base Camp in a group chat with the one friend I went to the Peru hike with. I didn't think much of it other than casually saying, "Yeah, sure, let's do it," thinking he'll probably circle back if he really wanted to do it. For context, my husband's longest hike has been around 4 or 5 miles, at maybe 8,000-foot elevation. He is reasonably in shape as we go to the gym together 5x week to do HIIT classes, but he does not do anything for endurance training or focused cardio. Well, fast forward to last month. He told me he paid for the $800 per person deposit. I was surprised that it costs so much since I haven't done research on the tours, and so I start researching. Then social media algorithms picked up my interest in Everest and started me down the rabbit hole of people dying on Everest, summiting, not base camp, but it's still creepy. And also the 1,000 folks stranded just trying to reach Everest Base Camp. Apparently a few hundred people die on MT Everest each year. While summiting versus reaching EBC is very different, the recent news of folks being stranded on the mountains while just trying to reach EBC is not helpful. Plus husband hates camping, no showers, bad food when his head is rained on, and also gets low blood sugar if he doesn't eat a snack first thing in the AM. The hike to EBC is an 8-9 day hike at very high elevation, in the cold, with cold pizza and fried rice, and suboptimal showering/sleeping conditions. My husband got majorly hurt that I showed him videos of people dying, people having a bad time on the hike. He took it as an affront to his planning skills and his fitness levels, since he wanted to plan a trip that has personal childhood meaning to me. My parents used to collect plant samples in the Himalayas when I was a kid, and also share something romantic with me in a sport I enjoy doing. The EBC hike is very different in terms of endurance, food logistics, and more than the Peru hikes though, and I just feel like with his preferences and physical condition we shouldn't chance it. Now he's hurt because he spent $1,600, and I just insulted him basically. I don't really want to go after doing a thorough research. Am I the asshole? I'm not going to call you an asshole, but to be honest, yes sure let's do it, sounds affirmative to me. Personally, I'd be double and triple checking before spending $1,600 on a deposit, but depending on your finances, that may not have seemed necessary. How far away is the trip? Is it possible for him and you to train yourselves up enough to do it? If it's far away, maybe training for it was part of his planning process. You're exaggerating the risk here. It's not summiting Everest. The base camp trek is not dangerous in the slightest, it's just long, because you go slow to acclimatize. The snowstorm last week was a freak event, not the norm. The food and accommodation at tea houses is also really good. It's a guided tea house trek with hot food included. It's good food if you like Nepali food. There is no camping. You are the asshole. It was a really nice gesture considering he isn't as into hiking, and you should go, it will be amazing. I've done the Everest hike. It's not difficult, and I saw people of all ages and fitness levels on the trail. Elevation/altitude sickness can be an issue, but you can't train for that. Groups account for that by having 2 acclimation days built into the itinerary. The food is simple and healthy and hot. Why would you go to Nepal to eat pizza? Calling off a hike to the foot of Everest because you saw a video of people dying while summiting is like being afraid to fly on a plane because there is no air in space. You are the asshole. Stay at home if you're scared. Stop holding him back. You are the asshole. You said, yeah sure let's do it, but apparently meant, no way in hell. Edit. You also are being dramatic and exaggerating about the danger involved. It's a tourist hike. Zero fun in it. Just trash everywhere and queues. Go to Scotland and bag some Monroes or something. Better views and cheaper. Apparently a few hundred people die on MT Everest each year. Wildly inaccurate LOL. Am I the asshole for not wanting my parents or brother to use my girlfriend's car while she's away? Sorry for the wall of text, but I want to explain the full context. My girlfriend, 31F, went on vacation for a week and left me her car so I, 33M, could get to work. I still live with my parents and don't have my own car right now, but she trusted me with hers since she knows I'd be responsible with it. Here's where the problem starts. My dad already asked if my mom can use my girlfriend's car to drive my brother to work. My brother is 31, doesn't have a license, and makes more money than me, my dad, and my girlfriend. For context, I wasn't working for a while, so I hadn't been contributing financially at home. I was in school for 2 years, and before that I wasn't working due to some mental health issues, and finding a job was difficult. My brother was giving my parents money each month, but sometimes he'd hold it back or skip gas money if he was mad that I wasn't paying. I've been trying to make up for it by helping out doing drives, errands, basically saying yes whenever they need something, just to show I'm pulling my weight. I know I shouldn't be reliant on them at my age. Trust me, the embarrassment alone is tolling on me every day, and I'm actively trying to work on it. But the problem is they guilt trip me into doing things. If I say no or even hesitate, it turns into comments about how I wasn't contributing before or how my brother has been helping more financially. And if I bring it up, they get upset and act like I'm being ungrateful or difficult. It feels like no matter what I do, I owe them more. Last night, I needed a ride to pick up my girlfriend's car before taking her to the airport. My parents said it was too far, so they drove me to the train station instead. I took the train, thanked them for driving me, my girlfriend picked me up, I got her car, took her to the airport early this morning, and came back home. I wanted to just relax for a bit after all that, but as soon as I got home, my parents asked me to go pick up my brother. I used their car, not hers, but it just annoyed me because I'd been running around nonstop. Then later, my dad brought up maybe my mom could use my girlfriend's car to drive my brother to work. I told him that's not right, and it's not my car to lend out. My girlfriend gave it to me to get to work, not as a spare family vehicle. He said he understands, but then added, it depends on the situation, which basically means I'll still be guilted into saying yes if they want to use it. It's frustrating because I'm finally working again and trying to rebuild stability and move out, and the first day I have access to this car, it's already being pulled into catering for to everyone else. My brother's 30 and doesn't even drive, that shouldn't keep falling on me. Plus, If anything happens to my girlfriend's car, I'm the one who's responsible, not them. So, am I the asshole for refusing to let my family use my girlfriend's car and for being frustrated about always being guilt-tripped into driving my brother around? Update. Wow, I didn't expect so many responses to this post. I'm pretty new at making a post. I was also kind of frustrated and wanted to get it out quickly, so sorry for not maybe giving all the info. To be clear, I am on the insurance for my girlfriend's vehicle. My parents are not. I knew that it would have been a breach of me and my girlfriend's trust to let them take it firstly, but without telling her would have been, like what most people have mentioned, a deal breaker. So I still stick by my decision, just felt bad about it is all. Another thing I didn't add was the reason for my dad asking me for my mom to take my brother. My dad needed to get to work at 12 a.m. My brother starts at 6 a.m. So my mom would have to take my dad, take my brother, then pick up my dad again shortly after. So that's why I kind of felt bad, like an asshole lol, because it was a lot on my mom in the morning. I also had a talk with my brother. It went really well. I just wanted to be honest about how I felt and asked him some deeper questions. Things like why he hasn't gotten his license yet and how I was frustrated about the situation. He was really understanding and told me a lot about how he felt. So I'm glad I did, and we kind of made a plan about moving forward, which was reassuring. The resolution I made was that no one else was allowed to take the car. This was a non-negotiable. But to compromise and try to help, I said I would take my brother in the morning so my dad could have the car. I really appreciate everyone who commented. I didn't expect to hear from so many people, and the things that you all were saying really made me feel better about my decision. So thanks everyone. Also, I hope this updates the post properly and doesn't mess anything up lol. Not the asshole. It's not your car. It's not their car. If they get into an accident, guess who gets screwed? Your GF. They need to get over themselves. Not the asshole. Just say no. It literally isn't yours to lend out. No, they may not use your GF's car, which she entrusted to you. Make sure they have no access to the keys. Say no, keep saying no. Become a broken record. Hide the keys. Move them around every day, or mom will get them. It's not your choice. Her car. Say no. Repeatedly. Not the asshole if she didn't give them permission to drive it. It's theft. Sweet pea. Just say no. Okay. Just no. He chooses not to drive or buy a car. That's everybody's problem, but his? No. Complete sentence.